From sketches of convicts to fingerprinting, law enforcement has always utilized art and technology to solve crimes and catch criminals. But it would be two Los Angeles detectives, Hugh McDonald and Harry Rogers, who first combined art and tech to invent the Identi-Kit in 1959, whittling down 50,000 photographs to 500 distinctive noses, eyes, mouths, etc. Each element was numbered and drawn onto clear acetate which could be assembled into a face described by the witness or victim. Successful as it was proven to be, Identi-Kit was very crude, and within a decade, Jacques Penry, a self-described facial topographer, was pitching his British PhotoFIT system to Scotland Yard. It too used around 500 elements in a kit, but each was a photograph rather than a drawing. Comparing these two images from Scotland Yard's archive, it is obvious why PhotoFIT quickly became the new standard. But in 1984, the BBC were the first to use the latest digital technology to create what they called a Videofit, as Nick Ross explains.
Here at Crime Watch UK, we've been trying to improve on this with the aid of a new piece of computer technology called an electronic paintbox. With the help of an actual witness and under the supervision of an officer acquainted with both the Guildford cases, let's see how with the paintbox that PhotoFIT image can be improved. The first thing is to erase those jigsaw lines that break up the PhotoFIT face. The cross on the screen, incidentally, corresponds to the position of this electronic pen on a sort of magic pad.
Right, are you happy with the shape of that face, the style of the face now?
Yes, it's very good.
Now, also in your statement, you made reference to the fact that this chap had a all-over even, nice even suntan. Would you like to just try some sort of colour for a tan, please?
It's a bit light, really. Can you make it any darker?
Right, how is that for a suntan then, Elizabeth?
I think it's about right, really.
Right. And the glasses themselves, are you happy with the shape of them?
Yes, they were quite tinted.
So they were darker than what was seen on there?
Yes. I think they're about right.
Slightly darker.
Perhaps a bit darker. A bit more like sunglasses. That's better.
Looking at the picture there, how would you, what colour would you make his hair now then?
Sort of browny coloured.
You're quite satisfied that's a fairly good resemblance to the person you saw in Guildford?
Yes, definitely looks like him.
In fact, that's the best impression the police have had so far of the Sainsbury's gunman.
Clearly, the ease and speed of Videofits took things to another level, but at $150,000, the Quantel Paintbox was another level of cost too. So police forces around the world began asking their local TV stations' graphic departments to help them solve high-profile, often harrowing cases, including reconstructing the face on a severed and incomplete head in Pittsburgh, or this case in Sydney, Australia.
A fortnight ago, a young couple, like thousands of others around Australia, were parked in their car in a Lovers Lane area in one of Sydney's southern suburbs. They were happy, in love, and looking forward to the future together. But the romantic night was shattered. Sandra Perrison was taken from the car by a sex murderer. Her boyfriend, Shane Bentley, was handcuffed to a tree. Sandra was raped, mutilated, and then stabbed to death. Homicide detectives fear the killer will strike again, and in an Australian first have used complex computerised videographic equipment here at Channel 7 to help catch Sandra Perrison's murderer.
After retracing the last hours of Sandra's life with detectives, Shane sat with police technicians to produce an Identi-Kit picture of the killer. But the finished product wasn't quite right. So detectives enlisted the aid of Channel 7's graphic artist Carolyn Reid and the Quantel graphics system to fine-tune the Identi-Kit picture.
Well, as far as I knew, it hadn't yet been done in Australia, and I certainly haven't done any work like that at all before. And I was a bit apprehensive about asking questions of someone who's been through a horrific experience like that and how I would deal with it.
Using the Identi-Kit as a base, Carolyn translated Shane's description of the killer onto the computer.
Something more the brown.
It's a bit too ready, perhaps.
Yeah.
Under the watchful eye of Detective Sergeant Hollis and Detective Lee Moran, Carolyn prompted Shane to make subtle changes to the features of the face imprinted on his mind.
Yeah. The nose is sort of...
Crooked?
Yeah.
You want it straightened up?
Yeah, that's better.
The end result was an eerie transformation of the hard outlines of the Identi-Kit into a photographic image of the man Shane Bentley says killed his young girlfriend. Hard copies of the video image were made immediately for distribution to detectives handling the case and to the media.
Digital was obviously the way to go, and John Platten refined his E-FIT program throughout the 80s, launching a relatively cheap PC-based system in 1993. Psychologists researching face recognition found that we store faces in our memories holistically. In other words, the brain doesn't think in individual features, but instead remembers the face as a whole, which E-FIT could easily adjust. Scotland Yard's first ever use of both Identi-Kit and PhotoFIT kits led to the arrest of both murderers. A third of cases featured on Crime Watch's first 15 years led to an arrest. Dan Kuniak's reconstructed portrait led to the identification of the skull as being Anthony Michalowski. Carolyn Reed's Videofit led to the identification and conviction of Van Hung Tran, who was himself murdered in prison. Though technology quickly evolved, the 2018 case of Hung Phuoc Nguyen in Pennsylvania proves that the success of any portrait is a combination of a good memory, a good artist, and good public recognition. Nguyen was arrested after someone recognized this drawing of his face.